Once again, it's the video that I always mean to do somewhere in the beginning of the month, and somehow it always gets put on the back burner till toward the end of the month, and I really need to do better about that because it's already not too helpful since all these stuff is usually sold out by the time you even see these videos. But hey, it's a personal indulgence, you know? I can do them when I want. That's the fun part. But yeah, it's been a busy month. There's been a lot going on, not only the random review schedule, but all the MetroCon stuff. I've got things going on behind the scenes, scripts to write, filming to set up. There's a lot going on, not to mention it was my birthday this month, so it's been fairly busy. But, you know, I still like doing this part. I admit, yeah, it's kind of just my own little thing, but I like doing it. So we're going to do it again. Now, before we actually get to all the goodies of the Glyos nature, I do want to show this guy off because I've been doing a lot more customizing work than I normally do. I've been kind of toying around with the spare figures I have and come up with things like this. Now, there's a company called Bannerman who I haven't bought from until just this month, and you'll see what I got in the mail that actually came today, next month. But for now, I'll tell you that they used to produce toys in a colorway called Apocalypse, which looked a lot like this. A lot of black plastic with these really sharp, bright red panel lines. Really wicked design. As you can see, this is completely painted. This toy started off completely clear plastic. Everything has been painted to look the way I like. It deviates a little bit. I used gunmetal for a lot of this to give like some of the panel lining shine and give the eyes a little bit more of an ethereal look. But I'm super happy with how it came out. I'm super happy. I used to be really bad at painting, so I think I've gotten quite a bit better. It makes me happy to see skills improve. I'll also mention that I'm going to recap a bunch of the Glyos stuff this month, but I didn't get anything from Raw Shark, the Colgrim guys. They released a new batch of stuff that's more kind of like Star Wars homage, and unfortunately I just didn't have cash going at the time. So I don't have any of that to show off. But I did still do my Glyosing for the month, so if you were not paying attention to Glyos in the month of June, this is what you missed. Well, for starters, I guess I briefly show that the big news was the release of a brand new Glyos series, this one being from Nemo's Factory, the AV robot, who I did a full review on, so I will be very brief here. Suffice to say, it's a little bit taller than your standard Glyos figure, much more svelte, a lot more fine details, and for the first release, very heavily painted, which means it was a good bit more expensive than you would expect it to be. But that was a first release special thing. I have been assured that future waves will not have nearly as many paint apps and will be much more affordable, which is good because aside from having customizing ideas, I want everyone to be able to experience this guy because this is one of the cooler, more inventive Glyos toys I've seen in a while. Really happy and really looking forward to seeing other colors come out. So here, we'll put you back there. But I already gave him like a full review. So we'll just go and talk about some of the other Glyos producers. Of course, Kabuto Mushi from the God Beast came out with brand new figures. This one really, another set of homages, and this one was more closely based on Shogun Warriors. The one I have here is based on the Shogun Warriors Godzilla, so it is primarily two-tone green with some orange and red around the mouth. It's a much more subtle color scheme. Like, I will admit, Marty really likes his bold, bright colors, but this drop was a bit too bold and bright even for me. So I actually missed a good chunk of this release. It happens. Not everything is going to click with you. Every now and then, a drop of toys isn't going to live up to expectation. It happens. But I am a fan of these big solid colors going on. This much more subdued. It looks more like a natural color of a beetle. So that one actually really appealed to me, aside from just the Godzilla connection. But the other one that I really enjoyed was an Ultra Bronze release in much more classic stylings with a few paint apps, and this one actually much closer to how Kabuto Mushi's used to be done. See, there's been so many homages lately, so many things coming out, like, He-Man homages, and I've got a few homages coming up, as when we get to the Onell stuff too. It's honestly like one of my favorite things about Glyos is how interchangeable all the toys are. No matter what the different companies and groups are doing, the plastic and the paints are usually the same. So if they release in the same color scheme, it all works together. From last month, here's a Toyfinity Robo Force figure released by Onell, and you can see absolutely identical paint. Something I'll show you more detailed next month. Knee Stuff just did another one. Same exact mold color and paint, going all the way back to the first one that was done by Onell, which, again, same color and paint. That is very cool because it lets you combine them and create different things out of all the different parts, and that's one of my favorite things about Glyos. So I feel like the homages kind of tear me away from play patterns like that. It's very, when you've got, when you've got a beetle that's done up like Mazinger, it makes it a little bit hard to figure out what other things you're going to do with those parts. So Marty, I love you, but man, I was so happy to see a more standard release again. There's so many colors out there right now that would be so good on the Kabuto Mushi. Good on a lot of these things, really. And it was actually kind of a light month for Glyos outside of the stuff I already recovered and the stuff that I had to skip out on. But Onell had a pretty serious drop. And for starters, since we already showed off one Robo Force, we'll go ahead and show you the other. The Gunmetal continues. And this still is one of the best plastic colors that they've come out with in a long time. It's got a great metallic sheen, very deep gray. It's such a good color, especially for the robot molds like this. Like, I was so hoping that they would release one of these. And release it they did, and it looks quite spectacular. Really big fan of this. I'm really happy. Like, while Toyfinity has been kind of handling its own thing, you can see that Onell has been releasing the mold itself to kind of give the RoboForce fans something else to grab, because these really are fun to build with, and easily some of the most solid of all of the Glyos toys. Also nice that, it's a retro toy line in of itself. I like that. So it makes me happy to see those. Just because Toyfinity is having a few issues right now doesn't mean the toys don't stop coming in, and that is good. And then there are the standard releases for Onell. A lot of their molds came out in the Gunmetal this time, which still good because the Gunmetal, again, shared plastic colors and paint, lots to build with, and it looks really good. So I'm happy about that. However, a lot of the toys this time came out with a very, very interesting homage. And that being, there was a toy line called Manglors. And this was a toy line that lasted like one wave because, well, they didn't really work too well. The idea was they were made of this really strange kind of rubbery plastic that when ripped apart could be stuck back on and it would bond. Like it stuck to itself. So you could take an arm and stick it on his butt and have a butt arm man. You could do that, and then you could take the arm back off and put it where it went. This seems like a disaster because, number one, I find it hard to believe those would survive to the modern age, and number two, wow, I can't imagine how ripped up those would look over time. Like, just little seams everywhere that didn't quite go back completely perfectly. It's kind of scary to think about, but it didn't work. Manglors it didn't work out for. But these guys are like toy historians. Like, they love the old stuff. Clearly. We got Shogun Warriors and Robo Force over here. So of course they know Manglors, and they had interesting color schemes. So we had a bunch of Manglor homages, including this guy in two-tone blue. I probably will not get my Acroyex Skeleton in the Mega Man X two-tone blue and red, so this is as close as I could come, and I like the look of it well enough. It's very, dull and pastel compared to your standard colors. It is, that was a cool thing about the mold, because they went to like great lengths to make sure the colors were as close to the original Manglors as possible. So you had a lot of colors that are in shades you don't normally see anymore, like very old school stuff. Here was my favorite one, and very Joker-ish green, toxic green and purple. It's very cool. Like, I love the green bones on this guy. It works very well for what they were trying for. There were some in this drop I wasn't quite feeling. This is like one of the few times I didn't just grab every skeleton, because I'm trying not to spend quite as much, which you'll laugh at next month, I'm sure. I was spending birthday cash, don't judge me. But it also came out with the armor board this time, and I really dig that. It looks like Joker's mech suit. Like, he got just sick of taking shots from the Batmobile and just decided to armor up like Iron Man. I love it. So those work for me. I like really unusual color combinations like this for these Glyos toys. Because sometimes they actually do manage to work. And that kind of gives me like Constructicon vibes as well. So that all worked out fairly well. So somewhat of a light month for Glyos. I mean, I could show you everything I bought, but it'd just get loaded down with like gunmetal. So it'd be a little ridiculous, and we'd be here all evening. So I don't want to take this any longer than it has to be. That is still all well and good. I'm still enjoying my Glyos, and of course you can see it's still like hugely varying how much is coming out. Now for right now, Onell just celebrated its 8th anniversary, and the 8th anniversary drop of toys got a ton of extra paint, a ton of really cool releases. Some old favorites came back. You will be seeing those next month. If you're actually watching this, the day goes up though. You'll notice Onell's shop is currently down. That's because the 8th anniversary drop was so popular it crashed PayPal. So that's an accomplishment. So if you actually tune in, check it out sometime tonight, maybe tomorrow. I don't know exactly when the shop's going to be up, but if any of the anniversary stuff looked good, you still have a chance to get most of it. Though it's going to be a limited chance. I think most of the stock is sold through so far. But keep in mind, yeah, they're going to be more expensive. But there are such special releases. They are not going to be repeated for a long time. Well, they never repeat colors, but I mean just like how special, like how much went into those. So if you're looking for a special occasion to get Glyos, well, go ahead, check it out. And of course, a few of these might actually still be in store if you go to the shops. They will be linked in the description below, just in case anything here catches your fancy, or just in case you decide now's the time to pay attention, because when you got cool bots like this stomping around with interchangeable parts and hundreds of combinations you can make them look into, you kind of have to pay attention, because these don't last long. So that is my Glyos recap for June. And July's probably won't be too far off, because there's a bunch of stuff that I just got, that's coming in, and it all looks really cool. So I hope someone enjoyed this. I'm sure someone did. Someone out there.